In this video, I'm going to take my experience as a professional athlete and break down exactly what I would focus on if I were an athlete that were trying to get noticed and turn professional. It's based on the approach that I used as an athlete that helped me turn pro, as well as other athletes that I've played alongside and athletes I coach, even including athletes that I've met on the podcast that they have used similar approaches like this one. We'll focus on three main areas which will help you maximize your potential, start to see better results, and increase your chances of turning professional in your sport. But before we get into it, there's something else that you need to know. Many athletes won't follow this. They'll follow the shiny objects that are constantly being scattered around, and that will leave them unstructured. This approach helps you structure it and start to build each stage individually, and then get you into a place where it all starts to come together and you start to see results. But if you start to have a scattered approach, then you'll fall into what everyone else is doing and you won't stand out and you won't get noticed. So this approach is what I'm calling the Mind Strong approach. And the first area that we will focus on is what I call get fit. Every sport that you play will require a level of fitness. And one of the best pieces of advice I got from a coach early on in my career was do the work now early so that you don't have to do it later on. What he essentially meant was if I do hard work when I'm younger, if I start to build my level of fitness and my capacity as a young athlete, then I'm not chasing my tail later down the line. I'm not hoping to catch up on some gains and build some form of fitness that I didn't have later down the line when it's probably going to be a lot harder. But if I do that hard work early, I will reap the benefits of that down the line, and I'll keep being able to top it up as I go. It was the best piece of advice that I got. That meant that I value fitness and building your fitness early. And that's why I think that if you build your fitness as a foundation, then everything else becomes a lot easier. If you're unfit, if you're not strong enough to build the skills or get the knowledge or do the techniques, then it's going to be a lot harder for you. You want to find out what elements of fitness are important to your sport. What movements do you think are relevant to your sport? What movement patterns do you need to get down so that you are strong in your sport? You might be thinking, I need to go and get bigger biceps in the gym, but that could be so far away from what actually brings results in your sport that it isn't relevant to what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, it might look good in the mirror. Yes, it might look good on a beach, but it's not going to get you the results that you want in the sport you're playing. So you have to go and find out what are the fundamental parts of my fitness journey to be successful. And once you've got those fundamentals, get good at those fundamentals. And if you're not sure what they are, there are hundreds of trainers online. You can go on Instagram in your sport in particular, and I'm sure there are trainers out there. Even elite athletes are putting up their workouts on social media. It's something that I didn't have when I was growing up. I didn't get to see what the elite athletes were doing. And so what I did was I actually sent emails to the trainers to find out what they were doing. I'd even sneak into gyms, find out the programs were, and I'd be able to copy them down. If you see the coaches in passing, you're able to ask them. Maybe you've got a coach yourself, ask them what you think the most fundamental things are, then get those down. And all of those elements, it could be an element of strength that you need to build early. It could be endurance. I would always recommend adding in some form of stretching. One of the things I wish I'd done earlier on as an athlete was get my stretching in earlier so that I had flexibility. Flexibility equals youth. You do not see a poor athlete that is immobile and inflexible. So get into your flexibility. It sure will benefit you and you'll reap those rewards down the line. So whether it's strength, whether it's some form of endurance, it might be a movement pattern that you have to learn. Find out what those fundamentals are, nail them, get yourself fit before you start thinking about stage 2. Stage 2 is get skillful. This is learning the basic skills of your sport. Now, while you're doing stage 1, you can be working on stage 2. You can be working on your fitness and your skills at the same time. Your stronger fitness will help you get stronger in your skills for sure. But if you were to only focus on skills and you don't have the fitness, these might suffer. You might not progress as well as you possibly could. So getting skillful, learn what are the fundamental skills in your sport. What are the things that you need to be really, really good at rather than working on the advanced stuff early on. Too many athletes I see focus on the high level advanced things that they see the pros doing. And they forget that all of that advanced stuff has been built on years and years of foundational work. And that's what you need to find out. You need to find out what those foundations are and get really good at them, get repetitive in your training with them, get those solid so that you could almost do them blindfolded and you're even thinking about them in your sleep. So for me, I would find 10 skills that I think are relevant. I'd rank them in priority. So go from 1 to 10, which are the most important, which is the least important, which ones can you build first that hopefully start to build on top of the others. Again, don't go for the advanced stuff. Think of something very, very simple. And each of those skills might be broken down into techniques that you have to work on. And once you've started to get this, then you can build out your training plan. You can start to think out, okay, this week I'm working on this skill. And that's really important. Don't work on all of them at once. Pick one or two and start to work on them. You could maybe start to think of 5 and maybe do 1 every day, and then systematically put them into your program so that you know every day what you're building. If you can start to get really good at 1 every month, then by the end of the year, you could have 10 to 12 things that you've become really good at, that you've spent some really strong, focused time on, and you've understood it, you know when to use it, and you know when not to use it. You start to understand your skills, you get really skillful as an athlete. Okay, so now on to the final part, which is get smart. This is really about understanding your overall game and who you are as an athlete early. The best athletes I've seen, they understand their games as early as they can. And this means that they've been really smart about it. This is understanding, as I mentioned about skills, when they are able to use skills and also when they aren't able to use skills. What skills are not in their repertoire? What things are they maybe reaching for that they're maybe not good at yet, but because they're trying to reach for them, that pulls them away from high performance. So it's thinking about what attributes are going to help you be successful. And this isn't just skills. This is where being smart can include the characteristics you are as a player. Are you someone that is hardworking, brave, courageous, focused, precise, gritty? Think of the characteristics you want to have as a player. Add them in. That's where you start to become smart in how you play the game. This will also involve not trying to be like other athletes. You want to try and build your own unique style. Yes, you can look at what other people are doing and you can start to learn from them and include it into what you're doing, but you will want to do it your own way. I made the mistake of this as an athlete, that I tried to be like other athletes and other people who were similar to me, and I stopped focusing on what was making me unique and me great at what I did. When I started doing that and focused on my game and being smart with that, then everything changed. I started to improve my performances. I felt better about my performances because I knew that this was what I wanted to do. This was how I wanted to play, and that I was seeing results from that. That felt amazing. So overall, get to learn what your game is, be smart about it. And then you want to bring in the mental skills. So this is all about understanding how your brain works around your sport. How does it work when it's under pressure? How does it work when you're feeling too confident, too calm? What happens when you're feeling panicked and you're feeling nervous? Understand everything about the mental part of your game. This is the final key that many athletes forget. They build the fitness, they build the skills, but then when they get to the end, they forget all about the mental part. So learning your mental skills is a variety of different options. There is a smorgasbord of things that you can do, from imagery to focus to body relaxation to self-talk. There are so many options that you can go to. It is just about understanding what are the ones that you need in order to perform in your sport that will make you a really smart performer. You might want to start working with a coach. You might want to start reviewing the performances you had. What are the things that let me down in the past? Where do I think I can get better? So that when you go into your training, you are starting to build an understanding of how you're mentally becoming stronger in your sport. And another way to do that is by using the Mind Strong Sport app. It is the mental gym that will help you build the mental strength on and off the field using meditations, mindset courses, reflections, breathing exercises, and so much more. It is the go-to place for you to build the mind you want in your sport. So head over to the iOS and Android stores to download today. Hit the link in the description of this video to access your exclusive offer today. But I can't stress enough how the mental side of the game is essentially what lets athletes down. They do all of that fitness work, all of that skill work, and if they neglect this last little bit, it is the thing that could be letting them down at the moment when they think they want to stand out above everyone else and they want to put in the performances that will get them noticed and hopefully allow them to turn professional, or even if they are professional, start to perform in the professional arena. So there we have it. That is my 3-stage process to what I would do if I was an athlete and trying to turn pro right now. But if you've enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss out, and also leave in the comments if there's anything you'd add or potentially anything you've learned and you think is really valuable from this video. I want to hear from you. But if you want to learn even more about how to strengthen your mental game as an athlete, then I've put together a bunch of videos that I think are the best place for you to get started, that I think you'll enjoy. And all you got to do is go right here.